Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of NascardRadio. This is episode number 16. I'm your host, your pal Val, flying solo today. Jason has a day off. We are going to talk about the new NASCAR Hall of Fame induction selection process that was changed after, I guess it was 10 years. We're going to talk about 2020 Donruss. We're going to talk about some of the winners in the Daytona 500 qualifying for the top first four positions. We'll talk about their cards. We're going to also talk about some listener questions having to do with older wax. So let's dive into the show. Thanks to everybody for listening and downloading the last week's podcast. Had an overwhelming number. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you will leave a review or comments, anything we can do to make the show better and supply information about NASCAR trading cards, it's our pleasure. Really enjoy it and want to share the knowledge. So with that being said, the NASCAR Hall of Fame in the beginning of each season selects members to be included onto the list, which then another group votes in May and selects the 5 members to join the NASCAR Hall of Fame each season in January. After 10 years and 55 inductees, they have decided to change the process and slow down. The NASCAR Hall of Fame announced that they are switching it now from 5 to 3, and it's broken up into different eras. So they selected a total of 20, which they selected 5, like I said. Now they're going to select 15, 10 from the modern era, 5 from the pioneer era. So reading from the NASCAR Hall of Fame website, the process begins with a 22-person nominating committee who meets at Daytona International Speedway during Speed Week to select the 10 nominees for the modern era ballot. In April, the Honors Committee selects 5 nominees for the pioneer ballot. Then a 64-person voting panel, which includes the members of the nominating committee plus additional representatives, votes on the 3 inductees from the list of 15 nominees. The voting panel submits a total of 65 ballots, which includes 1 ballot from a nationwide fan vote to determine the 3 inductees. 2 are inducted from the modern era ballot and 1 from the pioneer ballot. All 3 are inducted equally. There will be no distinction between inductee from either ballot. And the number of ballots submitted may change if any member of the nominating committee or voting panel appears on the previous year's ballot or current year's ballot. These individuals are recused from participating in the nominating and or voting process for as long as he or she appears on the ballot. If an individual who is currently on the nominating committee or voting panel is included or is no longer included on the first ballot, he or she is immediately reinstated to active participation on the committee panel. And I think this is what they're saying is we had folks, we had legends like Waddell Wilson, who was on the nominating committee before, or I should say the voting committee, and then we had Ricky Rudd, folks like that. So this allows them, while they're on the ballot, to not participate in the process. So you have from 5 to 3, so that's going to start to slow down the process, especially with 2 from modern and 1 from the pioneer. So that should be pretty interesting. So to be eligible, drivers who have competed in NASCAR for at least 10 years and have been retired for 2 years are eligible for nomination to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. In addition, drivers who have competed for a minimum of 10 years and reached their 55th birthday on or before December 31st of the year prior to the nominating year are immediately eligible for the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So basically anybody who's 55 do not have to wait the extra 2 years. And then, so the big trick is who is modern and who is pioneer. Well, competitors are eligible for the modern era ballot if their career started within the past 60 years from 1961 to the class of 2021. The nominees can stay on the modern era ballot for up to 10 years. Those whose careers begin more than 60 years ago who have been on the modern era ballot for 10 years will be eligible for the pioneer ballot. So it's kind of like an overflow if they've been on the modern era. Any driver who has competed for 30 or more years in NASCAR competition by December 31st of the year prior to the nominating year is automatically eligible regardless of age. So let's read that again. Any driver who has competed for 30 years or more in NASCAR competition by December 31st of the year prior to the nominating year is automatically eligible regardless of age. Drivers may continue to compete after reaching any of the aforementioned milestones without compromising eligibility for nominating or induction. For non-drivers, individuals must have worked for at least 10 years in the NASCAR industry. The reason I'm bringing this up is this is a huge shakeup from 5 to 3, and next year we have Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth. They've been out of NASCAR for 2 years. And then you have one pioneer. So folks that were on the list, I guess hoping to get in, they're going to have to wait a little bit longer, and it's a little more stringent process or starting to limit the flow of Hall of Famers into the Hall of Fame. And the reason I bring this up is if you're looking at drivers or, say, I'm going to say prospecting, but if you're collecting cards or thinking about collecting cards, you are, wanting to pick up some stuff before they get selected, nominated, it's going to be a little bit harder to do, I guess, some of that maybe. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is definitely a lot. I say that. He's won a lot and then has won now the Xfinity Series as well as some of the big races. And then Matt Kenseth has won a championship. So I thought that was interesting. We have Daytona this weekend coming up. And so the committee has met for the 10 modern era. They haven't released it. Vincent Kelly usually will tweet something about that. And then the NASCAR reporters they will announce the 10 and give a little detail of each of the 10. So I expect that to be coming up here in the next couple of weeks or months. So moving along to the next segment, the 2020 Donruss has been out for a week. It looks great. I've started to look at the pricing, what things are selling for. I have not opened any up, so I'm hoping to open some up by the next episode. But one of the surprising things I saw was that complete sets are selling for about $80 and another $10 for shipping. So almost $90 for a complete 200-card set and almost $200 for a complete set with the 200 cards plus the 100 insert cards. After thinking about it, I started to run some of the numbers. You are getting 24 packs a box and 8 cards a pack. You will get 5 base cards, 1 optic, 1 insert, and 1 parallel in that pack. So you're only getting 5 of the base. So that's only 120 cards. It's a 200-card set. So you need at least 2 boxes. Boxes are running currently about $72 a box. If you want to do the optic set, you're going to need 4 boxes. So, and that's just the base optic. If you try to go for parallels or whatever, then the numbers will shoot up from there. So I think that's good that the complete sets are holding some value. So I look forward to seeing the trend the next couple of weeks, how that complete set trends. Some of the interesting pricing I've seen is for Brittany Zamora. There was a rush for her stuff, and some cards, parallels were going. There's a pink parallel numbered to 25 for $58, optic for 20, base for 10. It's all over the board for anywhere from $5, a few dollars, up to 10, 15, 25 for base. So I'm excited to see that the Donruss is a nice-looking product. There is demand for it. I've seen some people have busted on posting some of their stuff on Twitter. Now, also, if you are a NASCAR trading card fan, you want to join the Facebook group called Nuts. I believe it's n.u.t.s. The great guys, girls over there. There's always stuff for sale and people sharing knowledge. So I would highly recommend the Nuts site. They're great. So I'm super excited about the Donruss this year. Of course, that's one of my favorite products. And we'll see how that plays out here in the next couple of weeks. And speaking of the next couple of weeks, I want to continue on after Daytona. Me and Jason will pick up and we will talk about some of the trading card sets that have been produced over the years. And just a refresher, we'll probably pick up on some of these, but we have talked about the 1970 Fleer drag strips. That was our episode number 7. And one of the things I was thinking about was if you've seen Ford versus Ferrari, Ken Miles, he actually has a card in that set. I did not talk about that before. I mentioned that the 2 NASCAR cards in there is Darrell Darringer's car and Dan Gurney's car. That set is actually, Fleer, just to recap, Fleer, I guess didn't know what racing was either because they called it drag strips, but there's not any dragsters in there. You have Jones, Joe Leonard with Andy Granatelli. Andy Granatelli from SAP, he has his own card in there. Like I said, the Ken Miles Lloyd Ribby's car, which is actually the Ford GT number 98, our Pollard's car, to name a few. So we talked about the Fleer drag strips in episode 7. The 1992 STP set, we talked about that in episode 8. That is the first NASCAR trading card set that Andy Granatelli had given away in Daytona at Speed Week. It's the only time we talked about that since it's right around Daytona here. 1983 Uno set, that's the next set after the 72 set that was released. So it took all those years to be released. That is episode 9. We started then with the 1985 Sparkstar photographic stickers, and that was episode 10. So since then, we've been talking about the drivers, the current drivers, the winners, and their cards. So we'll pick that back up, and if people have questions about them, please reach out to me on Twitter or leave a comment, and we can visit some of those in future episodes. And speaking of which, one of the things we like to do is talk about the current events, I guess you would say. And since we have the qualifying for the Daytona 500 and the Cup Series finalized, we have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. first, Alex Bowman second, Joey Logano third, and William Byron fourth. So I was just going to talk briefly about those drivers. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., his rookie is in the 2009 Wheels Element. That was one of those. And I'm using Check Out My Cards as a gauge for prices, so you can get an understanding of how much they are. And by other sports means NASCAR is very cheap. So Check Out My Cards has a couple of Ricky Stenhouse 2009 Wheels Elements for $1.45. So he's changed teams this year, so we'll see. I was very surprised to see him up running in first, and that's fantastic. He also has a parallel that's autographed in number 230, and that card is $25. You can always check eBay. If you're patient, naturally you can always find stuff a little cheaper. So the next driver we're going to talk about is in second is Alex Bowman. He has cards in 2014 Press Pass American Thunder, and he has a duel which is Alex and Ryan Truex, his teammate, and then he has cards in 2016 Panini Certified Prism, and they're not very expensive. His 2014 is about $1.50. His cards are not that expensive. In third place is Joey Logano, and Joey Logano's rookie year is kind of interesting. He's got cards in 2008. But really, 2009, I believe, is his first full cards. He's got autographs in 2008, and he's got an insert in the Wheels American Thunder in the delegates. And his autos, like Check My Cards, are about $40, either numbered to 100 or just the base. I believe there's a gold version as well. And then when you get to the 2009, they're 40-something cents, which actually is not a bad price. You might want to pick some up, or I need to pick some up. He has won a championship, so it's usually part of the criteria to be selected into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's on a good team, and he finished very well. So he's very young, so he still might have some more championships in him. And then fourth is William Byron, and he's one of the young guns coming up, and he has cards in 2016 Panini Certified. And he has autographs in some of the other series. And on Check My Cards, he has some cards there. And the least amount is $2.90, about $3. He's one of the reasons why I like the 2016 Panini Certified product. There are a lot of rookies in there. A lot of them have actually started to come up to the Cup Series. So you have William Byron, who's been at the Cup level. But this year, the Big Three, or they call them the Big Three, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, and Christopher Bell are all rookies in the 2016 Panini Certified product. So I'm a big fan of that product. And so that's your starting four for the Daytona 500. Next week, we will recap the Daytona 500 and go over the winner and their trading cards. And speaking of the 2016 Certified, it kind of leads me, we had a writing question. Mike Summer asked, I'd love to hear about the trend in sealed NASCAR wax. Some seem to be available for well under release price. Some seem to hold steady. Thanks, Mike, for the question. NASCAR wax is kind of interesting compared to some other sports. Very few hold their value. Most drop after a few months after the next release. There's not that many releases in NASCAR, so I've been starting to watch some of the other sports, and they're just, you guys who collect the other sports just get inundated with product. NASCAR's not so much. We are looking at 4 or 5 products a year. So Donruss is out now, but around May, June, when Victory Lane, which I'm assuming Victory Lane comes out, Donruss will be discounted, and all eyes will shift over to Victory Lane. And so for the majority, the products will drop. We're just looking at Donruss. So this year's Donruss is about $73 a box. Let me look at for last year's. Last year's is about $60 a box. I believe that the 2018 I've seen on sale for $30 a box. In 2017, the first year that Donruss produce cards, is $30 a box as well. So usually I talk about the Big Three in who sell wax online is Dave and Adams, Blowout Cards, and Steel City Collectibles. There is a little bit of overlap, but not a lot. Some have kind of like your Lowe's Home Improvement and Home Depot. They don't carry the same thing. And so that kind of some of them differentiate themselves with some older wax or different wax that the others don't carry. But there's not a lot of older wax. Older wax is actually harder to find. Let's see, I'll look at Dave Adams here real quick. Last year's Panini Prism is $55, and that is for hobby box. They have hobby boxes. They don't carry hobby boxes from 2018. Victory Lane 2018 is about $52. And then like the select hobby boxes, I believe David Adams is the only one carrying them at $55. And some of these are drying up. It seems like a lot of folks like the select from 2017. Steel City is the only one that I know that's carrying 2016 Prism, the first release. And it fluctuates between $100 a box to $70 a box. I think it's on sale right now. And I want to say it was $100 a box when it came out. So it's kind of holding but not increasing in price. The certified and some of the other stuff, they've hit, I think it was like 60 or 70. 2016 certified, which I said I really enjoy. We get 4 hits a box, 2 autos, 2 memorabilia, I believe, and a whole bunch of base cards. It's about $36 a box right now. And there's a 12-box case. Some stuff might maintain it, but most drop. The huge percentage of the older wax drops. The only ones that I know that maybe have escalated in price are maybe the 2000 SP Authentic, because it's got Jimmy Johnson rookie cards in it. There's a lot of autographs in there. I think the majority of them are all inserted. Were not redemptions. Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart. And then with that 2000 SP Authentic, Upper Deck was actually getting out of the NASCAR market, and there was like an MVP set or something like that, and they've included those autographs. So I've opened up a couple of those boxes and pulled some of those other inserts that were going to be used at a different set, but then Upper Deck decided to just put those in the boxes, extra value, and exit the NASCAR market. So, Mike, I don't know if that answers your question. If you have a follow-up, let me know. And then we have a follow-up to that. Kevin Hickerson asked, in relation to the question from Mike, are there some boxes that are becoming rarer in the hobby that might appreciate in value? That's a tough question. I think the Prism, 2016 Prism, has some value. Maybe over time the folks will go back and try to get some of those rainbows or work on some parallel sets. The blue and the green and the red, they look really nice. And I know for a fact that a lot of people that I've seen on social media and on YouTube, they like the 2017 Select because of the checkerboard pattern. They were really bummed that they stopped or discontinued that checkerboard pattern. So there's not a ton of wax out there. There is from the Panini era from 2016 up, but not every one of the big three carries them. And then trying to find older wax like 2004, because it's got the Kyle Busch rookies in them, different runs of Optic and Base Press Pass and Optima. There's all kinds of different releases of premium VIP. So, and I'm not sure how the market's going to be in the future if people start to collect the cards more, or if people start to collect NASCAR from other sports, and that continues to dry up. Like I said, there's not a lot of wax out there. The 1994 Wheels Series 2, that's got the Dale Earnhardt Jr. rookies in it. I think some of this stuff is low in price because people don't know what's in it, and that's one of the reasons why I started my blog and the YouTube channel and some of the other stuff is to kind of share the information but also document it for myself when I ran into stuff. So, 99 wax has Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, 2000 is Kurt Busch as well as Jimmy Johnson. So hopefully when some of this information gets out, you guys make a educated decision on some of it. But compared to what I'm seeing for basketball with the Zion Mania and stuff, NASCAR is very cheap compared to it because it's all relative to what you can resell it for. But, I think you can collect NASCAR trading cards and still have money left over without breaking the bank and pick up some other products as well. So Kevin, I don't know if that answers your question as well. And, again, if you want to submit a question, you can find me on Twitter. That's one of the best ways, at NascardRadio. Also, I can be found on the Nuts Facebook page as well. I'm on Instagram, pretty much all the social media as NascardRadio. So, and speaking of which, maybe think of, I wanted to touch on some 2020 Donruss. They actually put a check pattern in there, and that is called, it's black numbered. And some of them are numbered to car, so it could be 101 for Jamie McMurray and 99 for Carl Edwards and some of the other drivers. So that's really good. So I'm curious to see how those trend in the future. So again, I guess I'll wrap it up here. I didn't want to necessarily take everybody's time, but just kind of wanted to highlight on some stuff. And again, thank you so much for everybody for the reviews, downloading the show. And if you have questions, please reach out to me. Also, I will be on the Hobby Hotline again this week on Saturday from 11 Eastern a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific. And we'll be talking a little bit about NASCAR trading cards as well as anything else in the hobby. So thank you so much, everybody, and we will catch you next week.